Dr. Johnson was the founder and chief executive of a private student loan company, Reunion Student Loan Financing Corporation, before assuming his official role with the department. Is that correct?
That probably is correct.
Yes, it is.
Let me just interject. And
I would like to continue.
And I would like to make clear that
we'll give you some time. I will get to it. Thank you so much.
The individual you have referred to is not part of the acquisition or procurement team.
Okay.
You just watched Ilhan Omar walk into that hearing room thinking she was going to destroy Betsy DeVos on national television, and what you actually witnessed was one of the most embarrassing political faceplants in recent congressional history. Omar came in loaded with innuendo, half-baked accusations, and zero hard evidence, trying to paint a good woman as corrupt in front of the entire country. And DeVos? She sat there cool as ice and let the whole thing collapse in real time. That is what happens when a political ambush meets someone who actually did their homework. Stay to the end because we are breaking down every single moment, the setup, the trap, and the moment Omar's entire argument got obliterated in one sentence. If you're tired of watching politicians weaponize hearings for clout instead of actually serving the American people, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and do not go anywhere.
Thank you, Chairman. Madam Secretary, countless news sources have reported on the conflict of interest that run rampant through your top aides, especially those advising you on higher ed and loan servicing. When responding to questions about these conflicts, you have failed to adequately convince Congress and the American people that these conflicts do not interfere with the billions of taxpayer dollars flowing from education to corporate interests. Today, I would like to better understand your decisions for selecting aides and ensuring that their conflicts do not harm taxpayers. Last May, 4 of my colleagues on this committee sent your general counsel a request for information about conflict of interest surrounding your $2 billion next-gen loan servicing solicitation. Given that this solicitation is given, I would like some information about the team that's leading it. Does Dr. A. Wade Johnson, is he the one that's spearheading this solicitation?
Dr. Johnson is head of the Next Gen Initiative.
All right. According to New York Times investigation, Dr. Johnson was the founder and chief executive of a private student loan company, Reunion Student Loan Financing Corporation, before assuming his official role with the department. Is that correct?
That probably is correct.
Yes, it is.
Let me just interject. And
I would like to continue.
And I would like to make clear that
we'll give you some time. I will get to it. Thank you so much. Dr. Johnson was also the executive at the two financial services companies, First Data Corporation and TSYS. Additionally, Dr. Johnson was hired at least one other TSYS veteran, Mr. Patrick Fox. Have any of Dr. Johnson's previous employers bid on elements of next-gen solicitation?
Congresswoman, all of my staff, all of my team at the Department of Education and Federal Student Aid has gone through their ethics process, has taken and takes their ethics obligations very seriously. We don't have conflicts, and we will not be conflicted. We continue to have a robust screening process, and can stand and be very resolute about that.
So given that there is about $2 billion per year in taxpayer dollars flowing through this program, will you commit to releasing communication between the procurement team and any of Dr. Johnson's former employees?
So all of the procurement is walled off from the rest.
That would just be yes or no. Would you be committed to releasing any communication between Dr. Johnson and his employees?
Not to releasing internal communication, but the procurement team is walled off from the rest of the team, and the procurement process is very definitely prescribed as to how it has to happen.
That has not clearly answered my question. The federal acquisition regulations have a section on conflict of interest. It states, the general rule is to avoid strictly any conflict of interest or even the appearance of conflict of interest in government contract relations. While many federal laws and regulations place restrictions on actions of government personnel, their official conduct must, in addition, be such that they would not have no reluctance to make a full public disclosure of their actions. You seem to have reluctance to make a full public disclosure of the actions of the head of the department's largest single procurement team, despite there being obvious appearance of conflict of interest. How is your denial to release communication in line with extremely high conflict of interest standards that's required by federal law?
The individual you have referred to is not part of the acquisition or procurement team.
Okay. But we need the communication that is happening between the procurement team and the employers of Dr. Johnson.
That process is walled off from any other process.
Omar never came here for the truth. She came here for a clip. She opened with countless news sources. No names, no citations, no specifics, just a fog of accusation designed to make DeVos look guilty before she ever opened her mouth. That is not oversight. That is a smear campaign with a gavel. She then reads Dr. Johnson's professional resume like she's presenting evidence at a criminal trial, as if being qualified and experienced in your field is somehow proof of wrongdoing. Think about the absurdity of that. She is literally attacking this man for knowing what he's doing. And every time DeVos tried to answer, Omar cut her off because she was never interested in answers. She was interested in the performance. But DeVos never flinched. She stayed composed, professional, and factual while Omar kept moving the goalposts. When the conflict of interest charge wouldn't stick, Omar pivoted to appearances and public perception, which is politician speak for I have nothing. She started quoting federal regulations about the appearance of wrongdoing because she couldn't prove any actual wrongdoing. And then it happened. One sentence. The individual you referred to is not part of the acquisition or procurement team. Gone. Everything Omar spent 5 minutes building. Every insinuation, every dramatic pause, every loaded question, wiped out completely. Dr. Johnson wasn't even on the procurement team. He couldn't have steered a single contract to anyone. The entire premise was a lie, and DeVos exposed it with the calmest, most devastating efficiency you will ever see in a congressional hearing. Omar's only response was to retreat back to public perception, the very perception she was trying to manufacture right there in that room. That is not a congresswoman doing her job. That is a propagandist who got caught. Betsy DeVos walked into a trap, spotted it for exactly what it was, and walked right back out without a scratch. VidIQ Sonnet 4.6 low.